Alright, welcome back everyone. This is going to be a little bit different, but relevant. So, what this is going to be, it's going to be kind of just a miniature series here of a chunk of videos. I'm going to be going over every Reaper percent strat. Now, I'm not going to be doing rooms that do not have the Reaper in it, because in rooms where there isn't the Reaper, you just do any percent, or book percent, or whatever, whatever you're running. And for those of you who don't know, Reaper percent is a category that I came up with that is essentially 80% with slightly more things, just because you have to summon the Reaper in every possible room. So, I'm going to go over probably 8 to 9 rooms at a time, maybe a little bit less, just kind of feel out how I feel with this. But I'm going to do a chunk of rooms at a time, and we're just going to go through each one, and just go through how you're supposed to do it, so that should you want to do a Reaper percent run, you will do it correctly and kind of know some of the optimizations. So, I'm going to start with Scullery, because that's the first room where the Reaper can spawn. And the interesting thing with this is the timer is slightly longer than you think it is. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. Let's go ahead and just get this started here. Don't worry about the plot. This is... We don't want to kill the zombie. We need the Reaper to show up first. So we can kind of just mess around for a bit. I'm just going to kind of get him towards the door. In general, obviously, being closer to the doors more beneficial. I'm going to drop you down to 1 health. I'm going to stun. I'm going to wait for the spawn to come in. Now we're going to end. If you noticed, and I'm going to hop out here and move out of that room. If you notice, the Reaper doesn't spawn when the timer hits all zeros. There's a slight delay after that. So, just something to keep in mind. But, pretty much, kind of just waste some time, be at the door at 0, have the zombie at 1 health when it hits 0, get the kill and leave. So, the next room after that is a couple rooms ahead, up in the boathouse. This is going to be the first one that kind of completely changes everything. This room is completely different. It is not just a walkthrough anymore. So, to start this challenge, you need to kill both of these zombies. Once you kill both of these, then the challenge will start. Challenge is going to start. You're going to be required to kill both zombies within 30 seconds. Again, time constraint is kind of just a little bit of waiting. What I like to do is get 1 low, work on everything else in the room, and then kind of just chill. If we can, we want to kind of guide the zombie back towards the room. But again, we want to make sure the Reaper spawns in, and then we get the kill. So, nothing too hard there. But these first couple rooms aren't going to be too complicated. So, after the boathouse, we are going to go all the way to Lighthouse Living 2 for our next one. And this room's pretty much as normal, right? The only difference here is instead of ideally getting 13, we're just going to wait until we get down to 0. So again, we can kind of just do our normal setup, get it to there's just the one enemy left. These are not your friend, do not grab these. extra time cans are not your friend if you are speedrunning Reaper percent. If you're doing it casually, it's fine. But we're gonna grab this. I'm gonna grab this, just because again, I have a bunch of random time. Kill this one. And again, we're just gonna wait. If you'll notice a pattern here, a lot of this is waiting. I'm gonna avoid some damage. Alright, we're gonna get a kill, and we're gonna leave. So, a lot of these are just gonna be waiting. Some of these are gonna get a little more complicated as we go. So, if we go back, so that was living quarters. The next one doesn't show up until Scullery. And in Scullery, this is where we're not on a timer, so we can kind of do this a little bit different. 2 seconds here. I'm going to ignore that. Or, probably better to grab this, because the ideal situation is this. What you want to do is we're going to want to get these two in the corner like we normally do. But again, we're on a slight timer. So I'm going to get this one down. That. And then pummel and kill. Simple fact. Obviously that's a bit risky based on the fact that his hands on the wall, but you know. Sorry about that. Alright, so again, nothing crazy. Haven't really done anything, nothing too complicated. We're gonna go to garbage yard. And again, not really a whole lot gonna change. Boathouse is the only real change that we've had thus far. So we're still gonna do the same thing as we do in 80%. So we're gonna grab this. We're gonna run. We're gonna grab this. We're gonna go. We're gonna do pretty much any percent. Just at some point, we need to hit a spider with a melee. So do this. That one. That one. That one. And then we're gonna get these guys down. We get all of them over here. That swing. And then at some point during this phase, you want to get that. Now, when you want to get that hit is kind of up to you. But it needs to be now. It needs to be now. It needs to be before the challenge ends. Because you cannot summon the Reaper after the challenge is ended. So, again, nothing crazy. Just make sure to time it correctly. I do a lot of the Reaper percent stuff as close to a timer or door as possible. But if you're more comfortable getting it a little bit earlier to be safer, I know that sounds crazy that summoning the Reaper earlier was technically safer. It's a better idea. You just kind of want to don't summon him too early, because you need to remember that the Reaper has speed scaling, and that can get out of hand very quickly. But I do mean very quickly. But anyway, next up is Farmyard. This is the first kind of interesting room. Because what we can do here is you can do one of two things. You can go and grab the Mini Cooper, and you can have Mini Cooper kill Roger, and we can grab our challenge complete can, right? We can do this, or if for some reason the idea of you sitting here for almost a minute is boring. Oh, and it's exactly a minute. You can go beat stuff up. So I'm gonna go beat some stuff up. Because, again, why not? I have to blow a bunch of time anyway. And honestly, as long as you don't kill, as long as you don't kill the skeletons, you're fine. If you want to kill the skeletons, that's fine too. If you want to play the room safe, if there is a Dizzy Reaper in it, that might also help. Because the thing with this is the only thing that matters is that the Reaper spawns. Does not matter if he can be dizzy, he can be not dizzy. He does not need to be next to you. He just needs to be in the room physically, which is with an audio cue right now. As long as you hear that sound, you're done. So that's going to get complicated and a little bit messy with some things later. But for now, we're going to move on. And I talked about how it's going to get messy, and then it gets messy with the next room that we have to deal with, which is the little corridors. So, interesting fact here. You can hit Dojin. Hitting Dojin does summon the Reaper. You don't see him because he spawns at the entrance. But if I get hit into the door, he spawns. He is at this point. So as long as you get hit by a chair, as long as you're hit by a chair, he spawns in. So if you hit Dojin and are launched into the room, that does count. Dojin is valid in this run, because when you get hit, the Reaper spawns in, and then you're just immediately out of the room. So, it's kind of an interesting thing. Something to kind of take advantage of. And if you don't hit Dojin, well, you've still summoned the Reaper anyway, but you just need to make sure you get hit. Right? Next one is going to be Pantry. That loaded in early, that was interesting. This one can get a bit messy. But I'm going to do it this way. This is probably the easiest way I would do it. Because I'm just going to ignore the code. I'm just going to CC this. Because the Reaper stipulation comes in with the door. Now, you do still have to kill the coat, because the coat has the imps. Once you have an imp, just do this. You get a stun. Stun. And dead door. Oh, dead door. Dead door. I need that door dead. Please tell me that door's going to immediately die. Please. Yep, there we go. That was... That is one way to do it. The other way, if you don't want it as messy, is you can kill the coat, and then once the Reaper is summoned, you can grab the CC can. That is a bit risky. Because again, if you grab the Challenge Complete can before the Reaper's in play, you have to redo the room. Which means you would have to quit out and run the room again. So if you're trying to run this competitively, pretty much failing a Reaper's gonna kill a run. But anyway, I think I'm gonna end this one here. And in the next video, I'm going to keep going with this. And we're just going to go, 8, 9 rooms at a time. Or however many rooms I did. And just kind of chunk this into sections. So that way it's not too overwhelming, not too long. And I can kind of span this out over a couple days. So, the next room, just so you know what to look forward to, is going to be Grand Hallway 2. So, I will see you guys in that one. And hopefully you don't die to the Reaper. Hopefully. But you're willing Reaper %, so there's no inherent risk. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.